He opened the front door, tall, commanding, with eyes like a thunderstorm. And in that split second I forgot why I was there. Or who I was supposed to be looking at. My girlfriend was right beside me, smiling, introducing me, but my attention was trapped. Not by the house. Not by the scent of rosemary in the hallway. But by him. Her father. Before I continue with the rest of the story, kindly do me a little favor. Please hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to comment your favorite part of the story below. His name was Michael Rivers. Former military, now a high school head teacher. Everything about him said authority. Calm. Collected. Controlled. Even his handshake, firm, brief, no nonsense. But when his hand left mine, I swear I felt the absence of it for a whole minute after. Make yourself at home, he said, not coldly, but not warmly either. Just enough neutrality to keep me guessing. That evening, over dinner, I sat across from him at the table. My girlfriend, Anna, was telling her parents about her final thesis project. But I kept stealing glances. Little ones. Shameful ones. I hated myself for it, but I couldn't stop. There was something about the way Michael carried himself. Like he knew how to listen without speaking. Like he could hear everything you weren't saying. When our eyes met, just once, over the mashed potatoes, he held the gaze a beat too long. Or maybe that was just in my head. I'm not sure. But something passed between us. Something silent, something dangerous. I blinked and looked away, my heart racing. After dinner, I offered to help clear the plates. Anna's mom smiled. Anna laughed. But it was Michael who handed me the last glass and said, "You don't have to prove anything, son." That word, son, landed awkwardly in my chest. Not because it was disrespectful, but because something in his tone said he saw straight through me. When I went to bed that night, lying beside Anna, her head resting lightly on my chest, I couldn't sleep. Not because I didn't love her, I did. At least I thought I did. But because my mind wouldn't stop playing a reel of memories I hadn't signed up for. His voice. His posture. The way he looked at me like he was unpeeling something I wasn't ready to reveal. I told myself it was nothing. That I was tired. That I was overthinking it. But deep down I knew. This was not going to be just another weekend. Some people ask questions with their eyes. Michael didn't. He stared like he already had the answers. The morning light spilled lazily through the guest room blinds. Anna was still asleep, her hands softly curled around mine. I gently slipped out of bed, trying not to wake her. I told myself I just wanted water. But really I just wanted to breathe. The house was quiet. Wooden floors creaked softly under my bare feet as I moved through the hallway. I wasn't sure if I was hoping to bump into him or avoiding it entirely. And yet, there he was, in the kitchen, mug in hand, reading the news on his phone. "Morning," he said without looking up. His voice was always like that. Full. Even. Certain. "Morning, sir." "Michael," he corrected, finally glancing at me. I nodded awkwardly, reaching for a glass. He watched me just for a second, but it felt like longer. Like he was measuring my guilt. Or my curiosity. Maybe both. "You sleep all right?" "Yeah, thanks." I forced a smile. "You looked like you had something heavy on your mind last night," he said, sipping from his mug. I nearly dropped the glass. "Did I?" He shrugged. "You have a quiet face. But your eyes talk too much." There it was again, those words that sounded casual but landed deep. I didn't reply. I couldn't. I just stood there, clutching the edge of the sink, the silence stretching too far. Then he said softly, "Relax. I'm not judging you." And I believed him. Which made it worse. Because I didn't know how to stop judging myself. He left the kitchen a minute later, giving me a slow, unreadable look as he passed. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't inappropriate. But it was personal. Deeply personal. Like he recognized something in me he thought I was trying to hide. Maybe because he'd hidden it once too. Later that day we went out for lunch as a family, Anna, her mom, Michael, and me. The sun was out, the streets were busy, and I tried to pretend I wasn't unraveling inside. But then, he'd glance across the table at me with that same calm, knowing look, and I swear my lungs forgot how to work. I started seeing things I didn't want to see, how his wedding band was gone. How he walked slightly apart from Anna's mom. How there was a sadness to him, tucked neatly behind his strength. I told myself I was imagining things. That nothing was happening. But the truth is, something already had. Not with words. Not with actions. But with awareness. He knew. and I think deep down I knew he knew. The afternoon sun filtered through the living room curtains, casting a warm glow on the wooden floor. I sat alone, flipping through a photo album I found on the coffee table. Pictures of family vacations, birthdays, and candid moments filled the pages. I paused on a photo of Michael, younger, smiling genuinely, holding a toddler, Anna. "You found the old memories?" His voice broke the silence. I looked up, startled. Michael stood at the doorway, a soft smile on his face. "Yeah," I replied, closing the album gently. "It's nice to see these moments." He walked over and sat beside me, the couch sinking slightly under his weight. We sat in silence for a moment, the air thick with unspoken words. "You remind me of myself at your age," he said, his eyes fixed on the closed album. I turned to him, curiosity piqued. "How so?" He hesitated, then met my gaze. "Trying to fit into a mold that doesn't quite fit. Smiling when you're supposed to, saying the right things but feeling disconnected." His words resonated deeply. I felt seen, understood. "I've been there," he continued. "It's a lonely place." I nodded slowly, the weight of his words settling in. He reached out, placing a hand gently on mine. The touch was warm, grounding. "You don't have to go through it alone," he said softly. I looked down at our hands, then back at him. "Thank you," I whispered. In that moment, the room felt smaller, more intimate. The distance between us, both physical and emotional, seemed to shrink. He gave my hand a reassuring squeeze before letting go. "Sometimes just knowing someone understands can make all the difference," he said, standing up. As he walked away, I felt a mix of emotions, relief, confusion, and a budding connection that I hadn't anticipated. The evening air was cool, carrying the scent of blooming jasmine from the garden. I found myself on the porch, the wooden boards creaking softly beneath me. The sky was a canvas of stars, each one twinkling with a silent story. Michael joined me, a glass of water in his hand. He offered it to me and I accepted with a nod. We stood there, side by side, the silence between us comfortable yet charged. "Beautiful night," he said, his voice a gentle rumble. "Yeah," I replied, taking a sip. "It's peaceful." He glanced at me, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "Sometimes peace is found in the quiet moments." I nodded, feeling the truth in his words. He continued, "I've learned that understanding oneself is a journey, not a destination." I looked at him, curiosity piqued. "What do you mean?" He took a deep breath, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "There was a time when I struggled with who I was, with what I felt. It wasn't easy, but acknowledging those feelings was the first step toward peace." His words resonated deeply. I felt a lump form in my throat, emotions swirling within me. "I think I'm starting to understand," I whispered. He turned to me, his expression soft. "It's okay to feel, to question, to explore. You're not alone in this." I met his gaze, gratitude and something more passing between us. In that moment, the world faded away, leaving just the two of us, connected by unspoken understanding and shared vulnerability. The following morning, sunlight streamed through the curtains, casting a warm glow across the room. I found myself in the kitchen, preparing coffee, the aroma filling the air. Michael entered, offering a gentle smile. "Morning," he greeted. "Morning," I replied, handing him a cup. We sat at the table, sipping our coffee in comfortable silence. The atmosphere was calm, yet charged with unspoken thoughts. He broke the silence. "I've always found mornings to be reflective. A time to gather thoughts before the day begins." I nodded. "There's a certain clarity in the stillness." He looked at me, his gaze steady. Clarity can be both enlightening and daunting. I met his eyes, sensing the depth behind his words. True. It can reveal things we've tried to ignore. He placed his cup down, his fingers lightly tapping the rim. "I've spent years compartmentalizing parts of myself, convincing myself it was for the best." I listened, the weight of his confession settling between us. "But lately," he continued, "I've realized that denying parts of who we are only leads to a fragmented existence." I felt a lump form in my throat, emotions swirling. It's a difficult journey, embracing all facets of ourselves. He reached across the table, his hand gently covering mine. "But it's a journey worth taking." I looked down at our hands, the warmth of his touch grounding me. In that moment I felt seen, understood. He squeezed my hand gently before withdrawing. Take your time. Self-discovery isn't a race. I nodded, gratitude filling me. Thank you. As he stood to leave, he paused, turning back to me. Remember, authenticity is the foundation of genuine connections. With that, he walked away, leaving me with a newfound sense of clarity and the courage to explore the truths within myself.